If you're thinking about getting one of these, you really need to check this out. It's the XPENG app. Let's review it in this video. Now we're going to focus on all the different functions that you can perform with the app. But of course you'll need to download it first, but you won't be able to do anything with it until you collect your vehicle. When you do that, the dealer will register an account specifically for your vehicle through your app. Now, once you have the app and you're all registered, you can actually invite up to 4 other people to register their own account that connects with your car via their app. Now, when you get the app, it may not be sensible to throw the remote control in the bin because the app does require connectivity. If your phone goes flat or you don't have any access, you won't be able to use the features. Okay, so let's start in the top left-hand corner. You can see the number 411. That simply represents the approximate number of kilometers remaining in the battery given its current state of charge. Over to the right-hand corner now, you can see the little padlock, and it explains that the door is currently locked. Above that, there are 2 symbols. The one on the left here is a scanner. So if you click on that, your phone's scanner will open up. You'll see the center display will show you a QR code. Now when you scan that, the system will recognize that specific account holder and adjust the settings accordingly. Now, having said that, I've tried this multiple times with my account and my wife's account, and whilst it appears that the system is going through the motions, it doesn't seem to actually adjust anything for me. Maybe I'm still doing something wrong. Now, if we look back to the device or back to the app here, in the top right hand corner, we see the little icon that represents our settings. When we click on the settings icon, there's some information here now about your vehicle. So at the top, some sort of identification number. I'm not sure if that's the VIN number, but it's an ID number specifically for your vehicle. Then we have key settings. Now, if we go to key management and click the little button there, or the little arrow, that'll take us through to this screen here, and you would need to have this turned to on in order to be able to use the app as a remote control to perform all of the same functions that the remote key can. So opening the car, locking the car, opening the boot and the charge port, etc. If we go down to the next area, auto lock and unlock, we press the little arrow to open that section. So it's on this screen now where we can set that feature to have the car automatically unlock as you approach. Providing your phone and the app, of course, is within a close range of a meter or 2, you'll find that as you walk up, the car will just unlock. And you can set down the bottom for the opposite to happen. As you walk away, the car will lock itself. Now, you want to be a little bit careful about that because if there's a poor connection, it may not work properly. So it's one that I choose not to turn on. All right, let's go back to the previous screen and we'll go back again. And if we just scroll down a little bit further, we can see function settings. Now this vehicle authorization, we click on the little arrow to the right here. That will show us that this app is authorized under a particular account. Okay, so I'm holding my wife's phone with her app at the moment, and it's showing that she is authorized under my account, and it's providing the details of my account. You can see that it says owner account. Now, as the owner, you'll be able to invite other people to register their accounts, register their apps, and connect it to your vehicle. So a bit further down, we have some general information. It's the VIN number, so clearly the previous identification number wasn't the VIN number. But then we have the total distance. We've only done 1,174 kilometers in our G6 so far. Now at the bottom is the current operating system. And as you're probably aware, XPENG can do over-the-air updates. And this will let us know what the current update might be. And if I click on that, there's plenty of really good information in here that you might want to have a look at, especially after an update occurs, because things get added, some things get changed or improved or enhanced. So you can see here the driver assistance. There's some information about how that has been enhanced in the recent update. If we scroll down a little bit further, there's additional information, again, driving record. There's some good information here for you to have a look at. So I'd suggest that you read through some of this, especially after an update occurs. Okay, so back to the main screen now. Let's scroll down a little bit and we'll have a look at some of the really basic functions that do the same things that your remote key will do. The first obvious one is that you can lock the vehicle or you can unlock the vehicle. Now, we can start the vehicle or we can simply unlock it. To be honest, I'm not sure what the difference is, given that whenever I unlock the vehicle, it's ready to go. I simply put it in gear and drive away. So just for the sake of the exercise, I'm going to put unlock only. And you'll see that the symbol now demonstrates to you that your car is unlocked. Of course, if we press the button, again, that will simply do the opposite and will now lock the car, and you'll get that confirmation. Now, with the windows, you might expect that all 4 windows would lower all the way down. Maybe just the driver window lowers all the way down. I wasn't really sure what to expect, to be honest, but when I press the button here that says Windows, what happens is we get just a very small opening on all 4 windows. So it's around an inch or 2 of opening, maybe just to let some fresh air in or some warm air out. Okay, so if we press the button again, like everything else, it does the opposite, and it now will close the window successfully, and we get that confirmation. Now, of course, on the end here, we have the boot. If we were to click on the boot button, it says, please confirm that the area around the boot is clear. You're not going to open it and bang it into a fence or something like that. Now, I would have thought that it would detect that kind of danger and stop the boot from opening, but nonetheless, it's asking for that confirmation. So I'm going to confirm, and naturally, the app will now perform that function of opening the boot. All right, let's scroll down to the next section here, the vehicle control. Now, on the left-hand side here, we have power on. Well, let's press that button and see what happens. We get this confirmation, please press the brake and shift gears within 2 minutes. So this might be where I'm sitting at home, I'm getting my belongings, I'm ready to go, and I'm going to turn the car on. It'll open and be ready to go. But it's making sure that you get in and do something and get going within a couple of minutes, or it will actually unlock and go back to that locked status. So I'm going to cancel that now, but that's what happens when we click power on. Now, this is an interesting one, T Park, with the little padlock there next to the P. So it says here, lock the vehicle and keep the touch screen and the air conditioner on for 1 hour. Of course, if you press confirm, that's exactly what will happen. Now, I guess that's appropriate maybe where you've got a pet in the vehicle, you're popping in to grab something quickly, and you want to make sure they're still nice and cool for the pet that's left behind in the car, which of course you shouldn't be doing for too long anyway. So let's cancel that. Now, the next one across is the port. That's the charging port. If we press that button, it will do as you're probably expecting. It will simply open the charging port. And like everything else, we press the button again and it will close the charge port. Okay, now if we go up to this section where it says expand and we click on the down arrow, we'll see more options in the vehicle control section. So here we have the horn. Now if you press the horn, it will actually sound 3 times. And you'll see that the little symbol has changed to green. Now when it stops, it'll go back to this neutral color. Now the next one across is the flash icon. By pressing the flash icon, you'll see the indicator lights will flash. Again, they'll do that 3 times and then turn themselves off. The next one across is the tire pressure. When you click here, I find that this is quite different to what shows in the display. So 2.3 bar, whatever that means, that really doesn't mean a lot to me, but that's what shows up if you click on the tire pressure icon. Now going down to the 3rd row, we can see the 12 socket icon here. And if I click on that, it will give me the option to set how long, right up to 24 hours actually, I would like to keep the power on where the 12 volt socket is in the boot of the car. Now that might be great if you've got a little fridge or something like that and you've got items in there that you want to keep cool for a couple of hours or even up to 24 hours. So that's a great little feature. So I'm going to go back into that area and I'll turn that off because I don't need that. Now we'll move across to the next icon, which is preheat. Now this doesn't refer to preheating your battery prior to doing a fast charge. Instead, it's talking about maybe being in a cold climate and you're going to head off in the morning and it's really cold. You might want to preheat the battery just to look after it and increase its longevity. So when I click on this little icon, the message will be, please preheat the battery before using the vehicle on cold days, as this will significantly improve the battery life. Before using the function, please note, number 1, before turning on this function, please connect to a working slow charge point. And number 2, after the battery reaches the required temperature, it'll automatically stop preheating. Okay, I don't need to turn that on. So that's what that feature's about. Now the next one across on the right hand side here is Sentinel mode. Let's click on that. And Sentinel mode is about this. It's when abnormal vibrations are detected after you lock the doors. The vehicle camera records a video of the event and sends an app notification. When you return to the vehicle, you can view the video on the event. Now the little note here says, when enabled, this feature takes effect the next time you leave the vehicle. When it consumes some battery power, so only enable it when necessary. It takes effect the next time you leave the vehicle. That almost sounds a little bit ambiguous, but I'm sure if you turn that on, it's going to function the way that it says. Receiving a push notification from the app, though, is something that I've had a little bit of trouble with. Hopefully that's just because there are no significant events that need to be sent through. But of course I have tested that. I give the front wheel a bit of a kick and I don't get any notification. So there has to be internet connection in the center console there. The vehicle has to have connection, I think, for the push notifications to work. This is something that I'm still investigating, still learning about. All right, so that's the end of the vehicle control section. Let's move down to the next section. Now the next section is the air conditioning. Now we'll have a look at the vehicle temperature in a moment, but if we move over to the center here, we can see that it says maximum heat. If we press that button, the system is going to ask us, well in fact it's not going to ask us, it's going to tell us that this feature will stay on for the next 15 minutes. So my car is actually now probably roasting and certainly will be in 15 minutes. So if it's a cold morning and again you're collecting your belongings and you're heading out to your vehicle and you want it to be nice and warm, you can use this function. So let's turn that off so my car doesn't roast. And it's confirmation, of course, that it's successfully turned off the maximum heat. Now, of course, the same thing happens with the cooler. You can basically give it a burst of nice cool air. It will happen for 15 minutes and then automatically turn itself off again. And you notice that this is a blue color, whereas the heat was an orangey color. All right, now, I don't know if you noticed that then, but the temperature climbed to 20. So let me go back to the heat. We'll press that again. It'll stay on for 15 minutes. You can see the temperature has already risen to 21 degrees. I might decide on a cold day that that's cozy enough. I'll turn it off now and I'll head out to get going. All right, so there's some basic functions of the air conditioning, but if you see the little arrow to the right here, just in the top section, if we click on that, we're going to get this nifty little picture here of the inside of the vehicle, and there are lots of options here. So you can see some options below, and we can also see the image of the interior of the car above in the top section of the app. So in the top section, you can see the little steering wheel. If we were to click on the little steering wheel app, again, if it's nice and cozy outside, you might want to warm up the steering wheel, and that will do the same as heating the interior. It will heat the steering wheel for 15 minutes and then turn itself off. So like everything else, we press the button to reverse that action. Now, I don't know if you noticed that, but I pressed the button, it seemed to be spinning, yet I'm still getting a nice warm looking steering wheel. So I'm going to turn that off again. Alright, so I took a couple of goes then. It may again be a connectivity issue. So in the front left hand side, for Australian drivers, we drive from the right hand side, and UK friends as well. For other parts of the world, the left hand side is our passenger side. So you can see the little symbols here. We've got the squiggly lines, which represents heat, and we've got the fan, which represents cool. So in the front seats, both the driver and passenger, we can turn on the seat warming device. And of course, by pressing the button, we can turn it off. And that was interesting. I wasn't aware of that. I've pressed the button and it's reduced the heat by 1. You can see there's 3 little squiggly lines. If I do it again, I imagine it will reduce by 1 more. Okay, there you go. So I'll need to click that 3 times in order to turn it off completely. Now I imagine the fan will be the same. We can turn it on and it'll stay on for 15 minutes. Let's see if we get those 3 stages. Maybe not. Oh yes, we do. Okay, there we go. So I'll have to press that 3 times. I'm going to wait for each cycle to complete before I press it again. don't know if it would work if I just pressed it 3 times in a row. And of course, you can do the same with the driver's seats. Now, in the rear of the vehicle, we can warm the seats, but we don't have the option to cool them with the fan. Alright, so if we go down to the lower section in the air conditioning, you can see that the current temperature is 19 degrees. If I click on 18 degrees, you can see that the vehicle is you can see the message at the top here. It says in vehicle 21 degrees. Now, the little icon that says air conditioning switch has come on. And so the car is now parked out in the driveway. It's in the carport there, and it is reducing the heat within the vehicle. Okay, so I can change that to suit. I'm going to turn the air conditioning off now. And if we move to the right, we can see the same symbol that we saw on the previous screen, the maximum heat, and we can also see the maximum cool. Next to that, we see sterilization. I'm sorry, what? Now, if you plan on having children, please don't press the sterilization button. I'm not sure that that's what it means, but very interestingly, watch what happens when I press this button. Please ensure that there are no people, inflammables, and explosives inside the vehicle. Would you like to turn it on? No, thank you. I'm going to cancel that. I'm not sure that I do want to do that. Now, it may turn on the fans and try to sterilize the interior, freshen it up a little bit, I guess, but it's not a feature or a function that I've used yet. If we go down to the next row, we can see over here that there is a little fan symbol, and we've got the refresh button there. If I click the refresh button, the fan comes on and it will stay on for 15 minutes. So I guess maybe somebody who just got out of the car is a bit stinky and we want to freshen the interior up for the next visit. So we press the refresh button, and you'll notice again that the air conditioning switch has come on. So I'm going to turn the fan off, and let's see if the air conditioning switch goes off, which of course it does. All right, so we move across to the right, air conditioning cleaning. If I press this one, it says, please ensure there's no people, inflammables, and explosives inside the vehicle. Would you like to turn it on? I'm going to say thank you, I don't want to do that. And again, I haven't used this feature, but I assume that it would perform some sort of internal cleaning of the air conditioning system, just as the name suggests. All right, so we move across to the right, the windscreen defroster. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. If we press that, it's just going to start working. It'll tell us it'll happen for 15 minutes. And again, the air conditioning comes on because that's appropriate for defrosting the windscreen. And the last one in the bottom right-hand corner there of the air conditioning section is the rear window defroster. Now, we know that we don't need air conditioning to defrost the rear window, so you might notice the air conditioning switch hasn't come on, but of course we get the little symbol to show us that it's working. I'm going to turn that off now, and we should get a confirmation, there we go, that the defroster is now off. Now, the last little thing in the air conditioning section that I want to show you is this ability to schedule the air conditioner to come on. So this is essentially a countdown timer. You can set that to start at whatever time you like, and when you press set the timer, the air conditioning in the vehicle will come on in 3 minutes from now. And now we move down to the intelligent parking assistance. Now, some might call this a little bit of a gimmick, but it's also plenty of fun. And this is where we can actually remotely control the vehicle. Now, the first time I went to see the XPENG G6 in the flesh was at the Melbourne Expo, and I got to take a test drive, first cab off the rank on the Friday morning. And one of the first things that the XPENG staff member showed me was the ability to move the vehicle by remote using the app. And to see this car move forward by itself with no one sitting in it was a bit freaky, to be quite honest. But it doesn't take long before you get the hang of it, and it just becomes another great feature of the XPENG app. Alright, so we're outside now. I've got the car parked over here, and we're going to have a look at the application that allows us to be able to move the car forward or back via the remote. So let's have a look and see how we go. Alright, to get things moving, we press the forward button, and you can see that it's creeping forward. Now, it's obviously a slow process, and that's for good reason. You're probably in a car park or somewhere like that when you're doing this. And the lights are flashing, as you can see, and of course, to go backwards, we hit the arrows to reverse. When you take your finger off the button, it'll come to a stop. Okay, so let's try the next one now, which is where we'll ask the car to park by itself, which is going to be a little bit nerve-wracking, but I'm sure it will work just fine. So we're heading down the road here again. We're going to do a quick turn into the parking area. Let me spin you around. And I'm going to press the little button on my steering wheel to look for parking spots, and there's plenty here. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stop. I'm going to put the car into park. I'm going to take the phone. We're going to hop out. So it says on the app here, long press to park. Let's do that. And away it goes. It's doing its thing with nobody inside. So I need to continue holding the button down on the app. If I let go, it's going to stop. So it's making its own little adjustment. Pretty freaky, there's no one in that car. Alright, well, I'm still holding the button. It's stopped by itself, so of course I can let go now. Let's get back into the last couple of features of the app now. And one of the things I meant to mention to you earlier was this search destination function. So you can see the little magnifying glass here. When we click on that, what will happen is the system will identify your current location, and it will also identify where your vehicle is. Now, over on the right hand side here, you can see some little icons. The first one is the headlights. So if I was to press on that, we'll get those three flashes of the indicators like we saw earlier. Now a little further down you'll see the horn symbol. The same thing will happen when you press that. The horn will sound 3 times. But if we press the little button down the end here, that third one, what that will do is it will jump to the current location of your vehicle. Okay, so that we can identify where the car is at any given time. Now the really interesting thing here is that you can actually send your current location to the vehicle, and an option will come up on the screen for you to accept that destination, and if you accept it, it'll then be plotted into the nav system and it will take you along that route to that destination. So pretty handy little feature. If your partner wanted to be picked up from somewhere, they could simply send you the address and it would navigate you to that address. So really good little feature there. Okay, so there's a couple more sections to finish off our review of the XPENG app. Down the bottom here, you can see it says Customise User Experience, and this is in the X Combo section. Now, this is really interesting, but essentially the way this works is that you can set different actions to happen based on different conditions that might be in place. Now, I won't go into this in too much detail because this could potentially be a video all on its own. But to give you the idea, if we look at the top here where it says driving combo, there's a few options that they've preloaded for you to get the hang of things. And one of those is vehicle preparation. So if I click on vehicle preparation, we'll try and get a sense of how this would work. So at the top here it says turn on the automatic air conditioning before you go to work and wait for you to, and then we're waiting for this condition to be in play before the app will do anything. So you can see conditions 1. The condition is that at 8 o'clock every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, so that's the condition, and then the action would be the run section down here. So when that condition is in play, do this, run the automatic air conditioning to on, and then send a phone notification to this particular account number that the automatic air conditioning is on, and wait for you to get in. Okay, so that's a condition that you would find the vehicle waiting for, and when that condition happens, it will trigger that run to occur. Okay, so that's just one example of how you might customize your experience using the XPENG app in the X Combo section of the app. So if we go down a little bit further, maybe movie mode down the bottom here, and this will adjust the seats and the ambient lights to create a movie watching environment in the car. Now, when any of these conditions are in place, triggered only by tapping the run button. So in other words, this is a manual operation that you would run. It's not waiting for a certain condition to then do something. Well, I guess in effect it is. It's waiting for you to hit the run button on this particular combo. So when the run buttons hit, the app will trigger the driver's seat, front and rear levels to be changed, the air conditioning to come on, some music rhythm and so on. So let's go back a screen and back one more. Down the bottom here, this is the X combo section, and they're the sort of things that you can customize. They've given us some ideas to get us started, but you can come up with your own experiences there to really customize it the way that you like. It might be, for example, that when you pull up and plug in to charge at a fast charger, hey, recline the chairs, turn the lights off, put the music on, or put a video on, or something along those lines. So it's very, very customizable based on what experience you want to create for yourself. All right, so let's look at the last section now. It's the bottom right-hand corner here where it says account. If we click on the account button, we can contact XPENG here via email. There is a user log I'll show you in a moment. You can upload that. So if you're having some sort of issue, you can essentially send the data to the XPENG technicians so they can try and figure out what the issue might be if you're having some trouble. But let's go back to the settings down here. And actually, before we go to settings, in the top right-hand corner, you'll be familiar with the scanner that we looked at earlier. Next to that is what we would probably recognize this day and age as a notification symbol. So if I click on that notifications symbol, here are all the different notifications that you could receive through the app. And I'll just leave you to look at that for a moment. There's various ones there: the vehicle notification, charging, order, service notifications, events, and so on. Now, if we look at the top one, vehicle notifications, what we'll see is literally a log of all of the different actions that have happened with the vehicle, the times noted and the actions, the things that have happened. So it's really a running total of what the vehicle is doing. Down the bottom, XPENG notifications, this could be something like, updates are coming soon, or whatever announcements XPENG might like to make to its vehicle users. All right, so let's go back again to this screen here, and let's go into the settings tab. So we click on the little right arrow, and here's some other options that you might typically see in a settings area. Now, security up the top here, this will give some information about your phone, your email address, passwords, any linked accounts to your account, and so on. And let's go back one. Notifications, we saw the notifications in the little icon at the top, the bell icon, but these are the various notifications that you can turn on or turn off. So if you don't want to receive some of these notifications, you can switch them to off, and of course you won't be bothered with those particular notifications. All right, and then we have some additional things like the region, the language, terms of use, privacy policies, all the normal things you would expect to see in some sort of application. The app version down the bottom here, you can see whether or not you have the current app installed. It'll take you to your app store, and you can press update. Now, if there is an update, this is very interesting. I wasn't expecting this to happen. It will update the app. The last few times I've done that, it's basically just opening the app by not doing what it just did then, suggesting that it's already up to date. So it might be interesting to see what happens now when we open the app. Maybe there is an update. This will be interesting. All right, I won't go exploring now to respect your time, but as soon as we finish chatting, I will do that. So let's go back to the account here, back to settings at the end. And we'll go back here to the last thing I want to show you, which is this What's Fresh option. So again, this is where XPENG could push information through to let us know, anything that's coming up or something that's fresh or new that they might like us to know about. All right, so let's go back to the main screen. Of course, at the bottom there, you can log out of the app if you want to. And we go back over here to My XPENG to come up to that starting screen again. All right, well, that is the XPENG app. I think it's fantastic. There's a lot of really useful functions there. I hope you found that video helpful. A little bit longer than I would normally do a video for, but I think it deserves a fairly thorough look through and tour. So again, I hope that was helpful for you. If you have subscribed to the channel, thank you. Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. It helps a lot, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.